Thibodeau, your thoughts.
He did that already.
Samson, you already did this for 2 hours on Nothing Personal. This is the talk topic of the day. You have a couple of exceptions, but Thibodeau being fired, your thoughts?
Well, number one, don't believe that it wasn't Jimmy Dolan who did it. Obviously, Leon Rose, the president, is saying in consultation with James Dolan, but that's just horse hockey. The owner makes this call, not Leon Rose. The fact is the Knicks are doomed unless James Dolan stops making the decisions, and I could argue he has not stopped with the trades they made, including Cat, Randall. Everything is done with Dolan. He is super controlling, super meddling like many other owners. The problem is he's never won a ring of any kind. And to get rid of Tibbs is fine. You look at Tibbs, he looks angry, grumpy, and despondent on the sideline. You question their defensive schemes. You question the fact they couldn't deal with Indiana's full court press. You look at the makeup of the team and realize that Leon Rose isn't doing his job either, as they were outmatched by Indiana and certainly would have been by Oklahoma City. As far as I'm concerned, move right along, find someone else. But if it's still Jimmy Dolan running it, the Knicks will never win a title in my lifetime, and that bothers me.
How do you know all of this? How can you speak with such absolute authority? Can I let me just?
Because I used to run a team that had an owner just like it.
All right, so let me ask.
So I get it.
Okay, so I want to ask the group here, though. When I say that that David Samson has an uncommon sports business lane, he is talking about things with an authority from the insides of a sport in a way that are super cold, but also accurate. How can you say with such conviction all the things you're saying when that requires reporting, David? It requires, in order to know that James Dolan made that decision, is to know the inner workings of the Knicks, and the Knicks have changed how they were doing management. The new management of the Knicks was being allowed by James Dolan to do what it is that they wanted to do.
I'm sorry, where did you get that information? Is that from Pablo Torre?
That's what's been reported, David. What do you mean from Pablo Torre?
You understand that I could get anything reported. All I have to do is get it out there. Hey, George Steinbrenner let Brian Cashman and Joe Torre run the Yankees, and that's why they got successful after my suspension, and that's when everything changed. Oh, wait a minute. We had Jeter, Posada, Pettit, et cetera, and a few guys doing steroids. There is not one owner out of any of the top owners, top leagues, who is not involved in a coaching change. It just doesn't work that way. And did I report it? No. What? I'm going to call up Jimmy. Hey, Dolan, that was you, not Leon. No, they're going to say it's Leon so the owner can have plausible deniability. But I'm here to tell you there's not one coaching change that's ever happened where an owner was like, oh, I didn't know that you were thinking that.
How are you feeling, David, about the fairness or unfairness of firing Thibodeau after 5 years?
It is absolutely within the owner's right to do anything he wants. Fairness. Thibodeau's been a coach. He did 5 years. It seems like he could be the Patino of coaches, where stick and move, stick and move. 5 years in Chicago, 3 in Minnesota, now 5 in New York. There are a bunch of managers and coaches whose voices get drowned out after a certain number of years because they come in hot, stay hot, and leave.
But more success than a Knicks franchise has had in 25 years. Like, that's not up for dispute. Is it the results business or is it not?
Well, exactly. To me, it's the results business, and I don't think about the money, which I certainly could have. You guys haven't even mentioned the fact that Jim Dolan is willing to give Thibodeau $30 million on the way out the door. He just got extended, which shows you how extensions that are given to coaches and managers are really meaningless to owners.
But Samson, what happened here? Like, what does this mean that somebody with more success than a Knicks coach had gets bought out at the end when most Knicks fans could say that's not the reason they lost? Like, don't you think that most Knicks fans today are happy that Thibodeau's out?
There are plenty of Knicks fans who look at the way that he got outcoached by Rick Carlisle in the conference finals. There's plenty of Knicks fans who look at the makeup of the team and say, listen, you cannot run your guys ragged and expect to lead the league in minutes with two guys who don't play defense, Brunson and Cat, and end up on top in a playoff round where defense matters and the coach is supposed to be defensive-minded. I think there's plenty of Knicks fans who look at it that way, but frankly, I don't care the way they're looking at it. Jim Dolan looked at it and said, hey, I hear the noise. We came one home game short of the maximum in the Eastern Conference, and then we still could have had 3 more home games where he prints millions of dollars by loyal fans who don't care about mediocrity and losing. And at the end of the day, they actually reward him for his behavior because they continue to pay and pay more and more money. It's the most profitable home game there is in all of basketball.
David, do you think Thibodeau is now a hot hire in the NBA at age 67, or do you have doubts about that?
I think, and this is going to be a little ageism, and I don't want it to be given who I'm talking to and me, Greg. I would like to believe that he would be able to have one more run with the team. But the way that coaches are being hired now, like managers, it's not as many retreads. You know, the Ron Washingtons are really drowned out by some up-and-coming bench coaches who, like a Joey Espada, who gets an opportunity finally, or a Brandon Hyde. Obviously, he's been fired since. But I think that the Knicks will be very telling. Jim Dolan will want a name. He'll want a retread. If Leon Rose is good at his job, he'll find the next Oklahoma City Thunder coach, and I don't want to butcher his name because I do it every time.
Dagenham.
But someone who you've never heard of, who likely will be a way better coach for a bunch of guys. But impatient owners normally don't want that.
Way better, a way better coach
than a retread.
I mean, they're going to go get somebody who's way better than Tom Thibodeau.
Oh, I think that just somebody different is what they want.
Well, but that's not the same thing. Like that. How much
but
better?
That's why changes get made.
Okay, but David, yes, can you explain to me why you'd get such glee out of the fact that James Dolan is one of the worst owners and he has this power and he flings it around and he continues to make money and win even though he's a buffoon?
Well, you say I get glee. Remember, I started my life as a Knicks fan in 1974. I missed it by a year. And I've gone my whole life without seeing the Knicks win a title. So I don't know what glee you have in them losing in the conference finals.
It seems like you like that, James. You're taking a certain delight in telling us, hey guys, this is just the owner wielding his power all over the place, making a mess, being sloppy because he's going to remind everyone that he's in power, and there are never going to be any consequences, even though he's a buffoon because he's got the most expensive ticket in sports. And Thibodeau, honestly, great for business the last couple of years. Like, spectacular for business. The Knicks, people cared about him. Hey, Thibs, get out the door. Like, you can't say that's results-based. You just can't.
I'm sorry. Did you say he's a buffoon for having the most expensive tickets in the sport?
No, James Dolan is a known buffoon.
Okay, so that's two different things. He's doing great business at the Garden, and he's got fans who are loyal and who pay money to see him. Now, notwithstanding the networks going bankrupt, but that's not actually his fault. So I would just argue this on behalf of Dolan, and it's hard to argue on behalf of someone who is perceived the way he is. But he looks at that and says to the fans, I want you to have a title. He doesn't really mean that because he wants more home games and himself to have a title. But he says, we failed. Therefore, a change is coming. I'm not going to fire Leon Rose because it makes us look too disorganized. So we'll fire Tibbs. We'll bring in someone with the hope of we're going to get you where you want to be next year. It makes perfect sense to me.
And from a basketball standpoint, it happens quite often where you let go of a coach who did well, and then another coach comes in, creates a different culture. Look what Steve Kerr did. Mark Jackson, I brought this up on the alley-oop a couple of weeks ago, or last week. Is this a situation where we could see Tom Thibodeau get to the Eastern Conference Finals, lose, and then get fired the way Mark Jackson did, where he took him to the playoffs? He was right there at the edge. They have the same identical record, 51-31, Mark Jackson's last year and now Tom Thibodeau's last year, where you look at that and say, can another coach get us to the next echelon and get us to the NBA Finals? They work with Steve Kerr. They went on a dynastic run. Now you're looking for the next guy. Could it be Johnny Bryant, the guy they have on their own bench who they blocked from having Phoenix take a look at him? Could he be the next name? Could Jay Wright come in and be the savior for New York? Like, there's a lot of options.
All right, so this is Cat on the second team now that Tibbs ends with, right? This is the second time this has happened to this particular pairing. What are you smiling about, Samson?
Because that's a funny narrative that the media has. It is not that Cat is the downfall of Tibbs because he's been there, Minnesota, and now New York when he got canned. That's just a coincidence.
David, we're not going to be doing a lot better than Thibs. We can agree on this. Like, we can argue in the margins, and I'm not saying there can't be improvement, and I'm not saying in the results business you can't go cutthroat about getting improvement. And we can say voice is tired in the locker room and can only change so much of the players. But you can change the players. Cat could be available. Like you
and
can't.
They do need to get better, but you're looking for 5 more wins. I think that's the way that the teams look at it who lose in the LCS or lose in the ECF or WCF is you try to figure out how do you make up the increment, or if you win, you figure out how do you stay it on top. And you don't know how many opportunities you're going to have. You look at the construction of your team, the way the Knicks are put together, they are not able to win those extra 5 games. You start with a new coach, but you can't stop there. You got to change out those players in some way, shape, or form, because otherwise you will not ever get those 5 games with this group.